Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the fourth keynote of the event, April Greiman. Our next speaker is also known by other names. We would like to refer to, and like her studio staff referred to her as the OG, which is the original gangster. She may or may not have been the inspiration behind Marlon Brando's iconic performance in The Godfather, and we're just kidding. But it is sound conjecture to think that April Greiman, as the rest of the world knows her, may have inspired the title with her infectious energy, visionary creative flair, and her decidedly quirky persona. April Greiman, who was born in New York, has been instrumental in the acceptance of advanced technology in the creative process since the very early 80s and recognized as not only one of the first designers to embrace computer technology as a design tool, but to give it a natural place in her design ethos. While many contemporary designers felt that computers and digitization would compromise the international typographic style, April celebrated pixelation and other digitization errors as integral part of her digital art. As one of the boss ladies of the graphic design community, her work has hardly gone unnoticed, and the list of awards is long and plentiful. National Design Award finalist in 2000, the Iger Medalist Award, Chrysler Awardee for Innovation, and the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Society of Typographic Arts, Chicago, to name only just a few. She was featured in Apple's Mac at 30 documentary and has served as the director of the Visual Communications program at CalArts. Her work has been published extensively and exhibited worldwide at such prestigious locations as the Pompidou Center, at the Museum of Modern Art, New York, at the LACMA, at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, and the Pasadena Museum of California Art. This is not April's first address at IIT Bombay. She has graced us once before during the Ecograda Design Week to a full standing ovation. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome on stage for a fourth keynote, the OG, the one and only April Greiman.
Thank you very much all for coming, and I have to say my first visit to IIT and one of the first, I guess the first conference you had, I think, 2007. I was really excited to come to India, and I was in the safe harbor of IIT and Ajanta and Ravi for the days that I was participating. And then I had decided I wasn't going to come to India for just a few days because it's a long trip and it's been on my bucket list forever. Even in high school, when I met some exchange students from India. But after the safe harbor of being here, I had planned another 2 or 3 weeks to travel alone in the north of India. And I wasn't more than a day on the trip when I decided I wanted to go home, because it was so intense, and this is such a kind of a warm and kind of buffered zone of, welcoming designers and hospitable people. So I went every day to the airlines to see if I could get my return trip locked in so I could go home. And as I traveled through India, I got a little bit more accustomed, and I met up with a friend I met at the conference and managed to make it for 3 weeks and just said, I'm never coming back here again. It was just so different than what I had thought India would be. I thought it'd be quiet. I thought everybody would be meditating. I did go prior to the conference starting because my ticket, that I got a really good ticket to come, arrived me, I don't know if there's this expression, it allowed me to arrive a few days early. So I went to Goa and I thought, okay, I'm going to be on an island and finally I'm going to get that meditation hit. And Goa, the island was so noisy because of frogs. I kid you not, I couldn't sleep at all. So actually I was happy to be in Mumbai and in a hotel or in the guest house where there was some quiet. Anyway, I did swear I'd never come back, and by the time I got off the plane in Los Angeles in 2007 after this, I just was counting the days till I could come back. So this is my third trip to India. And I guess I'm a fan. And I thank you, Ajanta, for all of your praise and your constant support and acknowledgement. And Ravi, too. What would we do without Ravi? The real hero behind, like, what do they say? Behind every great woman, there's a man. Anyway, I was a little thrown off. I got short notice to participate here, in my mind, about a little over a month ago. And I was all set. I have a beautiful presentation on more of the work I've been doing, not exclusively, but more of what I've been focused on in the last 20 years, which is color in the built environment. So I have this really sexy presentation on color in the built environment, which also includes some graphic design and branding. But I got the brief, and it said I had to talk about these different things about typography, experimental typography. And so I'm not sure this is one of my best talks, because the first problem I had is I have no idea what experimental typography is. Start with that as a premise to put together a show. So I started looking at some of my roots, which would be based on my education. So Armin Hoffman, of course, everybody knows Wim Krauw from Holland, Bruno Manguzzi, who's Swiss-Italian, and of course my other teacher in Basel, Wolfgang Weingart. So I'm going to show, it's like a 3-minute thing, and it's a bit of a survey, starting with what I call my early masters of contemporary modernism, which are kind of surprising in how contemporary they are. I don't know if they're experimental. But then I'm going to follow that with what I'm calling possible categories: typo-fusion, typo-tech, typo-photo, and then some other categories I couldn't come up with. I picked just examples of people's work that I liked, and their names are on each piece. I can't say I know them all personally, but out of the 10,000 images of typography I could have chosen, I chose this group. So let's let this rip. Dim the lights. Maybe not. Some of this work goes back like 40 and 50 years, just so you know. I also want to acknowledge the really two nice guys who picked me up at the airport. They were either so tired already that they didn't know it was 4:30 in the morning yesterday, or they had been up all night, or perhaps they're just, 100% energy all the time. And also, was talking about my morning coffee and where were the good cafes, and so apparently there's none around here, but these two nice teachers here. I'm sorry, I forget your names, but forgive me. But I was talking about I drink a ice blended matcha or chai in the morning, and it's called a dirty chai or dirty matcha because I like a shot of espresso in it. I know it sounds gross, but try it with almond milk. And so they said, "Oh, we'll get Starbucks to deliver something." And so I said, "They deliver?" And they said, "Yeah, they'll personally deliver your room." And so at 10 o'clock this morning, exactly on time, they showed up personally at my room, which was really great. And other than you guys are crazy about sugar here, it's like, 80% sugar and 20% everything else. But it was absolutely delicious, and I wanted to thank them. And they can stand and get applause, but they probably won't. Anyway, thank you for that. And it's another reminder to me of the great hospitality I've always experienced in India, and I really appreciate that. Americans could take a few lessons from all of you. Okay, so the next presentation, I couldn't help it. I have to show work I'm doing in the built environment, which includes sometimes branding of a building. I'm a colorist who works on the color of materials palette. And many of the projects I've done also include signage and wayfinding. I'm just going to show a few pieces. The first piece, public artwork. I've got a bunch of those under my belt. And then a few examples of color in the built environment. And I'm currently working on two really big projects, including one for the upcoming Olympics in Los Angeles in 2024. But I can't show those because of non-disclosure. And so I'm going to go on after this little bit, and you'll see kind of a historical survey, what I call expressive typography. I've never really thought of. The only experiments for me were really learning and using new tools and technology. And so I'm going to show you a smattering of those projects, and you'll figure it out.
Good.